Hello, friends. Welcome back. Today, we are going to be talking about the reasons that we do things, the reasons behind our actions, and why they matter so very much. So, to start off, I always love to give you a definition, especially when we're talking about a very specific word. And the definition for the word reason is a basis or a cause for some belief, action, event, etc. So, a basis or a cause is what we're talking about. It's also an objective, an aim, or a purpose. So sometimes reason is kind of a softer word, but I think the word objective or purpose is a much heavier word. So those I'm going to use kind of interchangeably today. We're going to be talking about our reasons behind things. We're also going to be talking about our objective or our purpose for doing and saying and thinking certain ways. Okay. Now, remember the model that I taught you guys before, the head, heart, hands model. It goes like this. Something happens, we think a thought, we feel a feeling because of that thought, and then we take action and we get a result. All right. So just like different thoughts can create similar results, and I'll give you an example in a minute, different reasons in our life can also create similar results, but there is still a difference. So let me give you an example. I might want to lose weight. Now, there are a million different reasons why you might want to lose weight, but let's just talk about two. One might be, I want to look amazing in a swimsuit. Another potential reason could be, I want to lose weight to get and feel healthier. Okay, two different reasons. Want to look amazing, want to feel better. Now, these models would start with different thoughts, right? Something like, I want to lose weight to feel better, or I want to lose weight to look amazing. Regardless, they would probably yield the same result. I would probably feel motivated, I would probably avoid sugar and go to the gym, and I would likely lose weight and meet my goal of either looking good or feeling better. But what I want to point out is that they are not the same. Having different reasons does make an impact on us, and I want us to be very clear about what our reasons are because they matter. Now, some people might disagree with me. They might say, who the heck cares what our reason is as long as we get the result we want? As long as I lose the weight, who cares if I want to do it because I want to look amazing in a bikini versus I want to do it because I want to avoid diabetes? Does it really matter? I think it does. I'm going to give you 3 reasons why it does matter, because I think that on a subconscious level, and when the going gets tough, it's going to be very difficult to duplicate the same results as we had before if we don't really like our reasons. So we're going to get really clear on what our reasons are for things and how to change them if we don't like them. Because you probably are operating in a lot of different ways in your life from reasons that you don't really like. And that's okay. Sometimes I just have to force myself to do something I know I should be doing, even if I don't have good reasons for it, right? Let's take the health one. Sometimes I just force myself to eat vegetables because I know they're good for me, even though I don't really like them, or they're not my favorite, or I'd rather have a cookie. So the reason behind it might be just because I should, but hopefully I will develop habits that actually change my reasons into, oh, I actually kind of like cucumbers and Brussels sprouts now. Side note, those are 2 of my favorite vegetables, so I actually do like those, but there are some that I do not. So the important thing to remember is eventually we want to make our reasons in keeping with our value set, or else our actions are just not going to last very long. Now, the example I just gave you ended up with the same feelings, same actions, same results, right? I wanted to lose weight, either for looking better or for feeling better. I felt motivated. I avoided sugar and went to the gym. And the result was that I lost weight in both examples. But what about when you're starving and you didn't have time to meal prep and your husband brings home donuts? Which of those reasons is going to be more likely to help you avoid those donuts? Which one? There's no right or wrong one. It might be different for you than it is for me. For me, probably the idea of being healthy and sticking around longer for my kids is going to be way more motivating than just looking good in a swimsuit. Maybe for you it would be different, and that's okay. Just be very clear about what those reasons are, because if it's the right one for you, the one that's more in keeping with your value set, you're going to be a lot more likely to stick with it long term. Another maybe temptation example here is, what about a diet soda? It has 0 calories. So it's not really going to make you gain weight per se, but it's also not healthy. So you probably say yes to the diet soda if you just wanted to look good in the swimsuit. But if you were going for health, you might say no. So all of a sudden things get a little bit muddier when those reasons are different. One last example I'll give you that might be a little bit clearer, especially for the moms out there, is what about a child who you've taught not to cheat on his exams? One of these kids might believe that he's not going to cheat because it's morally wrong. That's his belief, that it's morally wrong. Another one might not cheat because the teacher's watching. Maybe he doesn't care if it's morally wrong or not. He's just not going to cheat because he doesn't want to get in trouble. Do those reasons matter? Yeah, I believe they do. Because when the teacher walks away, what happens? The kid who believes it's morally wrong is still not going to cheat. The kid who is just watching out for the teacher definitely is going to. And if you believe that cheating is morally wrong, then obviously you're going to have an opinion about that one way or the other. So if reasons really do matter, and they matter more than our actions, which is what I am arguing today, let's talk about why. Though there's three main reasons. Number one, if we have reasons in alignment with our values, then we will work harder and longer on our goals because the reasons are very important to us. Believing that cheating is morally wrong, someone would feel like in the fiber of their soul, I'm not going to do that because morally these values are very important to me, versus just not pleasing the teacher. Like whether or not somebody likes me is way less important to me than whether or not I am operating out of a morally good space. Again, not right or wrong. You get to just decide, is this in keeping with my value set? So number one, we will work harder and longer if our reasons are in keeping with our value set. Number two, we will experience more integrity. Have you ever felt like your actions are in keeping with your values? That's integrity. It feels much better than the opposite. So we'll talk more about that. Number three, we are more inspiring to other people. When you watch people living in keeping with their values who have really good, deep reasons for the things that they do, it is awe-inspiring and jaw-dropping. It's amazing. I love watching those people, and I want to be one of those people for other people. I'm saying people a lot. But anyway, the point is it's incredibly inspiring and motivating to watch. Okay, so let's first talk about working harder and longer on our goals when we like our reasons. When our reasons resonate with our soul, they are very important. Like I said, they are woven into the fiber of who we are. Deep down, let's go back to the swimsuit one, the losing weight. Deep down, looking good in a swimsuit does not really matter to me and my values. I'm not saying it's wrong or that it's shallow, but it's not as important to me as being healthy and caring for my body. Now, that wasn't always true. When I was 18 years old, I would say those two were flip-flopped because at 18, I felt like I was an immortal. It didn't matter what I ate or what I did. I was going to live forever. And looking good in a swimsuit was critically important for my brain at that point. It meant fitting in with a crowd. It meant being desirable for a future spouse. It meant a lot of things that it doesn't mean to me now. So back then, I think my reason would have been the other one, and I probably would have been okay with it because I didn't have the perspective and the wisdom that I do now. So please don't misunderstand me that I'm not saying that some reasons are better or worse, but they might be better or worse for you. Which reason is better for you and your value set? So looking good in a swimsuit for me personally right now, it would not be worth the time and effort required to take great care of my body. It wouldn't be worth the sacrifice of passing up the donut or the cake or whatever I really wanted. When I take action now, though, in keeping with those deeply held beliefs and values, then I become a stronger version of that self. I am operating more in integrity and I become a stronger version of that person. And I love that feeling. Now, if you feel like your reasons are not in keeping with your values, don't despair. You can totally change them. We can train our brains to work this way. We just have to be aware of it. So that's what we're doing first is we're gaining awareness. Another personal example is after my last baby, I started lifting weights again. I'd done it as a teenager and as a young adult, and I loved it. I'd just gotten out of the habit. Not a lot of time raising a bunch of babies, right? So I went back to the gym and I started working with a trainer and I started lifting weights. And mostly I was doing that to lose weight. I had probably 30 pounds to lose. I was uncomfortable. I felt unhealthy. I was eating not great. Now that was motivating at the start, but it was not the weight loss that kept me going because now I've been lifting weights consistently for over 3 years. In fact, that weight loss took probably more than 2 of those years. So it definitely wasn't like, oh, me losing 5 pounds every week that's keeping me going to the gym. It wasn't that at all. It became the dopamine hit I got when I got to the gym. It became the feeling of strength and of accomplishment that I got when I was able to increase the weight that I was lifting. All these other factors started stepping in and became my reasons for going to the gym. And in the end, the weight loss was just kind of a side benefit, even though it had initially been the reason why I started. Pay close attention to the things that you're doing and why you're doing them. And if you don't like your reasons, could you find better reasons? It doesn't mean you don't get the result of what you're looking for, but the reasons do really matter if they're in keeping with your values. Now my fitness and health goals have changed a little bit. Right now I'm currently training for a triathlon. And so I have a lot of desire to be fast, to be strong, and I want to be an example to my kids. A couple of my kids are going to do this triathlon with me. So that has me in the gym like 6 to 8 times a week. I had no idea 3 years ago that I'd ever want to do that. It sounded like a chore back then, but now it's fun for me because of all these other reasons. I want to be strong. I want to be a good example. I want to feel healthy. And it feels amazing to me to do these activities. Now, looking good in a swimsuit would never have done that for me. Never. Because that's not how I operate. It might do it for someone else. Like I said, not innately a bad reason. For example, let's say that you have a job that requires you to stay in shape. Maybe you're a firefighter, or maybe you're a fitness model. And if you gain 30 pounds or don't go to the gym, or, eat unhealthily, you're going to lose your job. Obviously, that is a much deeper reason than to just look good when I show up at the pool with my friends. For me personally, it wasn't the reason that was going to motivate me. What is the reason that would motivate you and is the most in keeping with your value set? So that's the first one. When we really like our reasons, we are going to work harder and longer on our goals. The second reason is we experience more integrity. Now, integrity is not a super popular term these days. I don't know if you've noticed. No one's walking around going, you know what? I just really like that guy. He's just such a great example of integrity. No. And yet, I think all human beings value integrity. We want someone who is honest and trustworthy and who talks the talk and walks the walk. We don't want people that are two-faced. We don't want people that are emotionally manipulative. We don't want people that are saying one thing and doing another. And yet nobody really acknowledges that that is integrity. That's what I want from myself. It's what I want from my spouse and from my children and from everyone in my life. So how do we live more in integrity? Well, as a kid, this was actually a big lesson I learned through a variety of experiences. But integrity, like I said, happens when you live in keeping with your values. So let's talk about business for a second. What does it look like to live in integrity when it comes to building a business? Well, there's a lot of different reasons you can build a business, right? A couple of my reasons are I love feeling fulfilled. I come into my office and I work on projects and I help people. It feels so good to me. I feel like I'm making a difference. I want to have an impact on the world. I want to help people. That feels amazing. And I also want to make more money for my family to bless us with some financial freedom, be able to take vacations, be able to make sure that my husband doesn't have to work so much. Now, those three reasons, making a difference, feeling fulfilled, making more money for my family, those are really in keeping with my values. But my reasons for building a business were not always super in integrity for me. There was a time that I equated business success with popularity and feeling cool and fitting in with the other influencers and money for reasons that were not in alignment with my values. And I could tell back then that it didn't feel as good. And I could tell that I was operating from a place that wasn't really true to who I wanted to be. Back to number one, I am so motivated to work on my business when I think about the people I can help. In fact, this is one of my top tips for people. I know I've mentioned it on the show before is if you are feeling unmotivated, if you are feeling like you don't want to work, if you're feeling like you're struggling in your business, think about the people you're helping. Think about the people that you can help that are still suffering because you're not out there doing it. So when we think about those people, we get into this place of service and we become less obsessed with ourselves and we're more motivated to do things that can help other people. I'm the most motivated when I think about the people I can help because I'm staying true to my values. When I think back to other people that I have helped already, my one-on-one clients and people who have seen a big transformation thanks to what I've done for them, I'll come in my office and be here for hours. I will do whatever it takes to find more people that I can help like that because it feels so good. Now, conversely, I could tell myself that the only reason I'm building a business is because I want a multi-million-dollar home and a Range Rover. That, for me personally, would not make me work on my business from a place of integrity because those things are not really important to me. I'm not saying they're not nice. I'm not saying I wouldn't want them. I'm just saying when the going gets tough and when I want to feel really true to me, that is not what would do it for me. And if it does it for you, fantastic. Put it on your dream board, like make it motivate you, but get really clear about whether or not that's in keeping with your values and why. Like if you really want something beautiful and gorgeous and financially extravagant, is it to impress somebody? Like what is the real root reason? Ask yourself that and make sure that you're in love with that reason. So here is an exercise I can give you, and it's very eye-opening, sometimes a little bit alarming, but I think it's super, super helpful if we're trying to determine whether or not we have reasons that we love. Ask yourself this question. Would you be willing to sacrifice one of those reasons for another to get the same result? For example, if you want to lose weight and you're wondering if it's for health reasons or if it's to look good, would you sacrifice your health to look good? Or would you sacrifice looking good for your health? So if you had a choice where it was, I'm either gonna lose the weight, but it's gonna be crappy for my health, or I'm gonna do something that makes me really healthy, but I'm not gonna lose the weight, which would you choose? That can be really eye-opening. Oh, yeah, actually, I'm not willing to sacrifice my health to be a size 6. Or yes, I am willing to sacrifice my health to look like this. Just ask yourself that. Again, building the business, would you sacrifice a feeling of fulfillment to get that Range Rover? Or vice versa? Ask yourself which one you'd be more willing to sacrifice. That can be very, very clarifying. Now, Please do not use this to guilt yourself. You guys know I talk about this a lot. When we are learning about our brain and our reasons and our thoughts and our feelings, we're not going to use it to then feel bad about ourselves. Like, oh my gosh, I totally want a Range Rover over serving people. I am a terrible human being. No, you're not. You have a very good reason for that. Why? Maybe it's because your family always had cars that broke down while you were growing up, and all you want is a brand new car that's not going to cause you car trouble. Let me just tell you that I did grow up with cars that broke down all the time, and it is one of the most stressful things on planet Earth, so there is no judgment there. But get really clear, right? Sometimes when we want a physical possession, there is a deep-seated emotional reason for that. So find out what it is, because that will fuel you more than anything else. And ask yourself, did I maybe borrow somebody else's reasons for this? How can I get back into integrity for myself? The third reason that we want to be very clear about liking our reasons is to be inspiring to other people, to be motivating to other people, to make a difference in the world. Let me ask you this. Whose wealth is more inspiring to you? A business owner who has built something that was their life's mission that they felt passionate about, or someone who inherited it all and didn't do anything for it? Probably the business owner, right? Because it took blood, sweat, and tears and intense motivation and work to get where they are. Whereas the inheritor, probably didn't. So I'm way more motivated to see someone working from integrity and working from reasons that really, really matter to them, because that can't be faked. You can see it when somebody is working from that place of integrity. Another example of where we could check our reasons is in spiritual or personal development. So I tell myself all the time, there are lots of things I should do. I should be praying, and I should read my scriptures, and I should meditate, and I should serve other people. But do I want to do those things because someone told me I should, or because I want to check a box, or because I want to become something better, or because I want to serve God, because I believe He's asked me to do these things? What are those real reasons? And again, it's okay to check the box. Sometimes I just have to force myself. You know what? I actually have a great app I've been using lately, Things 3. I'll talk more about it sometime if we're going to talk about organization, but it's basically just a glorified checklist. And every day I have read scripture on there. And there are days when I don't want to do it, but I do it anyway because I check the box and it still benefits me. And little by little, I'm desiring more to do it, not just to check the box, but to become something better. So it's totally okay to start somewhere with reasons that are kind of wishy-washy to you. But taking the action sometimes will help transform your reasons into something you really love. When I see someone who has become something incredible due to their own self-improvement or spiritual improvement, I am so much more motivated to do it myself. I'm so inspired rather than just seeing someone who's checked the boxes, because it shows. I can tell the difference between these people, and I bet you can too. We cannot deceive people about our reasons, because they're basically as plain as the nose on our face, right? We can pretend, but people can tell. It shows through, and we don't want to pretend to be something that we're not. You will attract the kind of people who have or want reasons like yours. That's how we band together. We create these tribes and these communities with people who have similar values and similar reasons that we have. And even if you think you're showing up with different ones, it's going to come back to bite you. So find and search out people who are like you or have reasons that you want to have and connect with them. So as a reminder, the 3 reasons why we want to check our reasons to make sure we love them is: number 1, because we will work longer and harder on a goal when we love our reasons. Number 2, we will stay in integrity. And number 3, we will be more motivating and inspiring to the people around us. Now, I have one more caveat I want to talk about here. Sometimes the result we get from doing something is not a pretty result, but we do love our reasons. So for example, sometimes in a relationship, we have to put up boundaries. I've talked about boundaries before. I might avoid someone's call because I have a boundary that I can't talk to that person in this state that I'm in. There's a difference between avoiding a call or not talking to somebody because I'm putting up a boundary out of love versus I'm annoyed with them. The result of avoiding someone's call seems like maybe not a great result, because my values generally say that I want to connect with people who are important to me. But if I have a boundary, again, out of love because I want to improve the relationship, that's a much better reason for me than just being annoyed and wanting to avoid them. So take a look at your results. Having good reasons doesn't mean all your results have to look pretty with a bow tied on top. Sometimes we do things that seem out of keeping with our values, but they are actually in keeping with them because of the reasons. So the result in the example I gave you is not talking to the person. People might not like that or might have judgment for me, but my reason is what's most important. I'm operating from a place I love. Another example, maybe we experience something that looks like failure, but we like our reasons. For example, quitting a high pressure job and teaching school because we want to have more time with our family. Maybe the rest of the world would be like, oh, you just gave up that job? That's terrible. But you love your reasons because now you get time with your kids. Or what about downsizing your beautiful home because you want to have time and money to travel with your kids? Again, the outside perspective might be, oh, you just lost that beautiful home, but your reasons are so much more important to you. Don't be so obsessed with the result that you ignore the reason. Sometimes we make choices that don't make sense to other people because we love our reasons so much. In the end, it's your life and only you will have to live with your reasons, so make sure you love them. Do some soul searching. If there is a goal that you've been working on and it's not been happening for you, ask yourself, are my reasons in alignment with my values? And if they're not, how can I tweak them until they are? All right, friends, good luck analyzing your reasons. We will talk to you next week.